There, fans, do I have a barn burner for you today? I got one of our former coaches who meant so much to me during my time at WVU, Tom Maderia. When I tell you, just a man's man, high character individual. He is one of the winningest coaches in the state of New Jersey with over 200 plus career wins. Great guy. He's now the head coach at Burlington High School, and just a high character guy. So I'm bringing him on to Relatively Sports because there's a lot of stuff that we're going to share and he's going to share. I'm just going to have a good time as usual. So here he is, Coach Tom Maderia. This has to be one of the best days of my life for many reasons. First off, Coach, thank you. Before I even get started, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to jump on my show. I greatly appreciate it.
You know, I would do anything for those guys from West Virginia football team. Those were special people and special times. I would do anything for you guys.
Absolutely. And we would do anything for you.
Appreciate it.
You already know.
Yeah.
Listen, Mountaineer fans, you're in for a treat. This guy is legendary, and for many reasons. One of the biggest in my career, transferring into WVU and with Coach being there, as I stated, he was a grad assistant, but he was so much more than that. Just the leadership ability that he showed even back then. This is why he's one of the winningest coaches in the history of New Jersey football right now. Coach, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Being part of that staff back in the mid-'80s, what did you take from that allowed you, first off, to even want to be a coach, to work with young people? What did you take from that with Coach Nealon and the rest of those fine coaches?
You know, to this day, our practice schedule is exactly like it was at West Virginia. The only thing is I didn't have 24 periods and somebody with a horn up in the stands because we don't do that. But period-wise, we break everything down the exact same way. Our practice schedule, just the way we practice individual, everything's just like West Virginia. Our defensive calls to this day are from West Virginia. Our base defense is 63 regular. Yeah. I learned so much. I learned organization from Coach Nealon, like big time. You know, how to run a program, how to treat people. That's the big thing I learned from Coach, how to treat people. I don't care if you were the lowest guy or the highest guy, he treated you with respect, and I learned a lot from him. Kurlav, Dunlap, Denny Brown, all those guys, you learn so much from them. This sounds crazy, but you would know. Motivation from Kurlav. I mean, he could motivate you. Dunlap, one of the smartest football minds I've ever been around. So those 3 years I was there, I learned so much that to this day, now I had a bunch of players go to West Virginia. When I was coaching at Holy Cross, they would come back and they go, well, Coach, our practices are just the same. Like it was easier for them. So I took a lot from West Virginia.
Wow. And you know what's funny? Back in the early days, I don't think people really understand the connection. Well, I should say the disconnect between recruiting now and then what it was back when I came out. This thing is light years different now.
Oh, totally different.
As a head coach at this level, how do you deal with parents and with potential recruits? You know, when they come to you and ask you, Coach, if they're Division I, Division II, you know what I mean? How do you assess that?
I want to be honest with them, number one, because everybody thinks they're Division I. And the biggest thing like Division I guys are looking for is size. You know, what do you look like? Size, speed. And like I said, the game is different now. So I'll tell all my kids, like, number one, the biggest thing is you got to have film. And we have that. You know, we have this thing called Hubble now. I don't have to make any copies. The film's out there. The other thing I tell our kids to do, go to these one-day camps. Almost every college in the spring has a one-day camp, and basically it's like a combine. But the coaches get to see you. Back when you were recruited, you probably went to one or two camps, and they were a week long. They were $300 and some, and you can only afford to go to one or two of them. And you were recruited as a senior. These guys, I tell our kids, I go, if you don't get offered before your senior year, you're probably not being offered. And it's sad. It really is the way that they do it so quick.
Yeah. You know what? And I'm going to tell you, I've never been a stars guy, anything like that. Like, I don't believe in the 5-star, 4-star system. But
I don't either.
When I came out, they had the blue chip grade as an All-American, all that stuff. So I was fortunate to be on that list. The thing that got me with that, what I realized on my visits, then I'm going to talk to you about that as well. You were treated different if you were a blue chip All-American, or all-state kid, or all-county kid. I didn't realize that until I visited schools like Oklahoma and some of these other big-time programs. Because I was a blue chip All-American, it was almost like, well, you know what? We have to treat you a little bit differently, because to get you to come here, guess what? This coach is going to make a little bit more money because we got 3, 4, 5 All-Americans in this class versus an all-state or all-county kid. Had no idea the business side of it. Now, when I transferred, I learned that stuff in the first round, and I looked at it a little bit differently. This is why West Virginia became a home for me, because Coach Nealon can care less about any of that. Do you find yourself having to explain that to parents and to young people now? Don't get so caught up in the stars. Just do what you need to do as a student athlete, and it all play out.
Yeah, especially when they're all worried about, am I all county? Am I all state? Am I all this and that? I go, number one, you make sure you pass the clearinghouse. You've got to pass the clearinghouse. And number two, you must have good film. And then number three, you have to go to these one-day camps. Like, I had a kid a couple of years ago, a wide receiver. They thought he was a little undersized. He had good speed, not great speed, good speed. And then they tested him on the vertical jump, and they did his arm reach, and then they saw him vertical jump, and he got offered by UConn right away. Yeah. And he's like a 3-year starter there. But those are the things you have to do now. It's just different now.
Yeah. No, Coach, listen, I absolutely love it. Now, I know you're not one to put the light on you, so I'm going to put the light on you. What does it feel like to have over 200 career wins and to be one of the winningest coaches in the state of New Jersey? What does that feel like?
It means I'm old. I've been doing it a long time. I tell people, if you're in it long enough, the wins are going to come. I've been blessed. I've been blessed to have great players. I've been blessed to have guys. When you have great players, it makes it a lot easier. I would say, from a coaching standpoint, winning conference championships and things like that are more important than the number of wins, because, like I said, the older you get, the wins are just going to pile up. But like I said, I'll tell anybody, I've been blessed to have great players that take the game serious and do the right things. And boy, it makes it a lot easier coaching.
Definitely. I'm going to tell you something now. I've never shared this with you. So I was one of those guys, and you know me for all these years. I was always one of those guys. I love structure. Even when I met you all those years ago, and as young as you were, me and A.B. Brown used to always talk about how structured you were and how disciplined you were, very, very regimented. So that's the reason why you had so much respect from all of us, of course, as the whole staff did. But when you see that in a young coach, and you're a young player yourself, there's something about that coach that it draws you to that particular coach. And that's why we all loved you so much, because, yeah, you were young, but you can see there's something different about Coach, because he's a little bit, older than us, but it's right down the middle with you. It was always that way. So I knew you were destined to, I already knew, Coach. I already knew that you were going to be one of the best coaches to ever do it, because I saw it back then.
I appreciate that. And again, you look at the structure, look at what Nealon gave us structure-wise. from, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, like every day. You knew what you were doing every day and every time. Like the kids will, they'll know, my team knows this day, whether we play on Friday or Saturday. Our schedule stays the same. Saturday just gives us an extra work day. We have Tuesday and Wednesday to work instead of just Tuesday, So we have that structure to this day. We do the same thing every day. It's funny, when I first got this job, my first year at Burlington Township, we won our first 3 games and then we lost the game. And one of the kids said, well, I guess we're going to run a lot on Monday. I go, if I thought that running was going to make us win, we'd have ran before that. I go, nothing's going to change. We will keep the exact same game plan because, you don't run to punish somebody because you lost the game.
Wow. And that's the thing too, it's so much more needed. And that's why I'm so happy that you are where you are and still doing it. Do you ever feel you get to a point where it's like, you know what, I'm tired, I've been doing this long enough? Or do you get the sense when another group of kids come in, it's like, you know what, no, I want to be around for that group?
Yeah. As you get older, you get a little bit more tired. Okay. I have great assistants and I let them coach. I learned that from Coach Nealon too. You let your coaches coach, right? But when I tell you, when you walk out there Friday night or Saturday afternoon and it's the fourth quarter and it's a 2-point game and, the adrenaline's flowing, you can't beat that. That never goes away. The pregame, the halftime, that doesn't go away, but am I like I was 25 years ago? No, I've slowed down, but again, I've got great coaches, but the feeling, and you know what it's like, being in that locker room right before kickoff, remember being in the team dinner when the governor spoke to us right before the Fiesta Bowl and we're walking out to those buses, like that feeling, you still get those feelings. You still get those feelings no matter how old you get.
That's the beauty of it. That is the beauty of it. I'm going to tell you, when you and I, we go back and forth every now and again on social media and we talk about the great memories.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't mind, could we veer back just a little bit about some of those memories? We talked about how crazy the weather was for the Sun Bowl. You remember that?
Yeah, I tell people about that all the time. I said, we played Christmas Day. I go, but I said, we played in a snowstorm. And I go, it's ironic because it's Christmas Day. And the day before, the picture of you and I, that was the day before the game. It was 72 degrees,
That's right.
And the other thing that people don't realize, we didn't have cell phones back then. So when we came back from practice, it was Christmas Eve. The line in the lobby of everybody at the payphones to call home, was 5 and 6 deep. But I wouldn't trade those memories, those bowl games, those games, the lap around the field against Syracuse. It still brings goosebumps to me.
You just said it, and I got goosebumps now because you don't forget that stuff, and that's the beauty of it. You know what I told my son, and at Sacred
Right.
University. This is what makes it special, Coach. This is what.
Your relationships, yeah.
All these years later, you have no idea how much I admire like a man. And that's why I love the fact that you're still coaching. The young student athlete, they're missing, they're missing the foundational pieces of how important it is to be a good person as well as be a good athlete. And we were all blessed, to be part of what Don Nealon, that program, because I came from high school at St. Joseph's. And for him, I was fortunate in Little League. So to get to college and even get to the professional level, God blesses Coach Moss at the AFL and had some decent coaches in the CFL. But there's something about Don Nealon that rubbed off on all of us, and it makes you understand the importance of being a good person versus being a good athlete.
Right. Yeah, I always remember him saying, you got to get the kids that aren't that great around all the good kids, and that kid will turn into a good kid. And I really, to this day, I truly believe this. I truly believe the reason we were as good as we were We had good character kids. We had good character kids across the board. Were we perfect? No. But we were a family, and for the most part, we were good character people.
That's so important. Do you get a chance? I know you do. You get a chance to really speak that into each kid that you get now in your program, from freshman all the way through senior year, I'm sure.
Yeah, you try to, because you try to talk about the next level, like, or just life in general, whether it's getting good grades, you got to put the time and effort into it. I was talking to him today about athletics is a result-oriented business. When you get results, you play. If you don't get results, you don't play. But it's the same thing in life. You have a job now. It's a result-oriented business. You make the sales, you get the commissions. You don't make the sales, they ask you to go somewhere else. So my point to them is, do your best. Do, whether it's class, whether it's what, just do your best. And then, and I tell them two things don't lie: the mirror and film. The eye in the sky doesn't lie.
I love it, because it's so true. It is so true. When your students when the student athletes come in and come to you after a hard practice, they understand that you might be a little bit frustrated. I'm sure they also remember how Coach Neal, if we had a bad game or a bad practice, you knew he was frustrated with you, and he might fuss you out a little bit, but you also knew he cared about you.
Oh yeah, he did, and most of the coaches did. Like, we all know Kurlav. We all know how he could, but there was nobody behind closed doors when I was in those meetings and we were talking about the traveling squad, who was going to go and who wasn't. Nobody pounded the table harder for his kids than him or his manager. I remember one time his manager slept in and missed the van going on an away trip. He went into Neal and got him on the plane. Kurlav was loyal. And those players knew that. And from a coaching standpoint, loyalty to your players, that's just huge.
Oh, absolutely. Where do you see, because I know you and I were talking when we watched Thursday night game, the West Virginia game. Where do you see college football right now, Coach? Does it, from where it was when we were, but where do you see it now?
It's a little frustrating for me. Like, I had a kid last year. He got a full ride to JMU. Great school, great football school. He's telling me in the spring, he goes, I'll probably enter the transfer portal after a year. They're already thinking about that stuff. Where can I go to be, where can I go to be? It's like you're dating a girl and I'm looking for somebody better right off the, I'm like, to me, the transfer portal and, even I'm not sure about the NLI or NIL or whatever that is. I think it was put in place that, like, with the year we went to the Fiesta Bowl, if we sell X amount of number 33 jerseys, Eugene Napoleon should get part of that. Not that a car dealership gives you $100,000. Okay, so now what they're doing, Pitt's best receiver. Well, USC is going to give me more money, so I'll go there. And our loyalty, like, we knew who was going to be on the team. It's changed from that aspect of the, and I don't know if it's good. And I'll tell you the other thing I miss, and it's just me, I'm old school. I miss the bowl system. The bowls are going by the wayside. If you're not in the playoffs, nobody cares anymore. And that ring you have on, I will always have it in my possession. That, and that was a bowl game. Those bowl games are special.
Absolutely. I think, it kind of, where we are now, it tarnishes the legacy of what college football used to be. Now you can't even, when you go and you talk to a student athlete, when I go to speaking engagements, it's hard for them to even understand what it used to be. And like you said, they look at us, I'm of a certain age, and it's like, well, they can't even comprehend it because they're looking at us now.
Yeah, and back then, it was all about getting an education. Yeah, we played, but our guys graduated. our guys graduated. Because I remember guys coming back that thought they were going to go in the NFL, and they would, after the bowl game, start working out and stuff like that. Well, then when things didn't work out, they would go back to Coach Neal and, hey, you know, can I finish? And he always took care of them. He always took care of them and paid for. But our kids graduated. Our offensive line, those guys all had above a 3.0 GPA. Yeah. And that's important.
That's the stuff, Coach, that I will always respect Coach Neal, that staff, our university. They did it the right way. West Virginia, for me, they always did it the right way. And I see that even now. People are talking about Coach Brown, fire Coach Brown. Yeah, am I upset as a former player, student? Yeah, I'm upset. I don't want to see the man fired, but I do understand, as you said, this is a results business. And when you're making the kind of money these guys, people want to see results. I get that. But he's a good man.
Right.
Good man. He's a high character guy. You need that at a program like WVU.
Right.
You need that at every program. And this is why I'm so happy, like I said, for you, where you are Burlington Township, those student athletes need Tom Madeira.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, for me, because you know what, Coach? And I'm going to say this to you, and I want you to close out on something for me. One of the biggest reasons you're not only leader of men, but they're learning life skills through football because of you.
Football is, you know, to this day, to me, football is all about life. I mean, it's hard. It's not easy. There's other sports that's a lot more fun. But as hard as you work, you get knocked down, you get beaten and bloody. There's still nothing like Friday night or Saturday afternoon, you know, and being in that locker room after the game, after a big win. You know, to this day, I just share real quickly. To this day, I have in my office at home, I have my West Virginia degree hanging on the wall, and I have the picture of the Syracuse game where it said perfect on the scoreboard. You know, those memories will never go away. But I got my degree, my graduate degree from West Virginia University, and I had 3 great years of football there. And hopefully kids learn from football that nothing's easy, nothing's handed to you. And there's no, I joke around. I said, I don't care how rich your dad is. Don't care how good looking your mom is. The best players play. It doesn't matter about how you look, it's best players play. And the kids can respect that. The people in the stands, you know, they all got different opinions, but the kids know. And that's what counts.
Coach, in closing, let me ask you a question. What advice would you give a parent about trying to get their kid to the best possible spot? Coach, what advice would you give a parent?
Well, the first thing is, you know, we got to take care of the grades, right? If you're Division I, you're going to know it because people are coming after you. You may go after them. I may go down to West Virginia. I want to go to West Virginia. West Virginia may not want me. All right, my 2 big schools growing up, I wanted to play for Notre Dame or Ohio State. Well, guess what? I wasn't a Division I player. I was a Division III player. But Mount Union wanted me, Heidelberg wanted me, Defiance wanted me, Bluffton wanted me. So if that's what I wanted, if I wanted football, then I had to go to one of those schools. I still got a great degree, and I was able to be in a football program. I was at Mount Union for 4 years. So I would tell parents, don't just worry about Division I scholarships, because if you're Division I, they will find you. Trust me, they will find you. And then pick out the school that's best for you. What I tell my kids that are scholarship players, don't go to school because of the coach. He may not be there. Don't go to the school because of the assistant coach who recruited you. He may not be there. And the biggest thing is, if you couldn't play football, would you still want to go to school there? And if the answer is yes, then that's a school for you. But if you're going there just to play football, that's not the way to do things, because God forbid your career could end tomorrow and you still want to be happy at that school.
Wow. So, Coach, I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you. There's some great years down there, and I love living in the towers with all you guys. Like I said, I saw Calvin on there, and I go, Calvin was my neighbor next door. my neighbor to my left side, unfortunately, was Chris Gray, and then past him was Parker and Smiter. I mean, just great, great people. I used to love sitting there watching TV with all you guys.
Listen, those are great memories. Those are great memories. Listen, good luck the rest of the way, the rest of the season with you guys. I really do appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on. And I'm gonna give you a call so we can definitely go out and get a burger or something. I still don't drink, just so you know.
That's a good thing. Hey, iced tea's good with me. We're good. Love you, Eugene.
Love you too, Coach. Thank you so much. Have a blessed rest of the day.
You too. Take care.
Let's get one in here. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's go, Let's get one in there. Let's go, Mountaineers.
Mountaineers. Hey, I'll tell you what. Friday at my home game, I had our West Virginia fight song played.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
I got to get down to one of them games.
I'd love to see it.
I just want to run around the field one more time.
I could use you. I got a 33 jersey for you, too. I'll see it. Take care.
Yeah. Mountaineers, what did I tell you? What did I tell you? Just packed with great stories. And he had a lot more, trust me, but time permitted, we couldn't, we couldn't get into everything, but I'm so glad that he was able to come on. He took time out of his film session for us, and that's just the kind of guy that he is. So I'm so glad Coach had a chance to come on and just spend some time with us, give you a little bit of antidotes and some of the stories and some of the advice that most student athletes and parents should get. He's a great guy. And again, that's what happens when you go to WVU, man. The bond to be a Mountaineer is so strong. And as you see from week to week, when I bring back, I don't care if it's players, now you see a coach, the love that we all have from that program, you can't say, shake a stick at it. It's just real love and a bond. So thanks for tuning in. Next week, we're going to have somebody else that you're going to be very happy with. And I look forward to it. So thank you for your support. And I'll see you next week. Let's go, Mountaineers.